and we'll go to NPR. We'll come right back. We're going to move away from this subject, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they've arrested an immigration judge.
Yeah,
Really?
Let's talk about it, folks.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're going to pivot.
We'll be back with the Sunday Forum. This is Walter Us with the second round, the members of the Fourth Estate. See you in a minute.
All right.
WNF Tampa.
News in Washington, I'm Giles Snyder. The acting police chief in Vancouver, Canada, Steve Rye, says a person who drove an SUV into a crowd last night is in custody.
That male was taken into custody at the scene by the crowd. It was a Filipino community event. The crowd immediately called police. We then took custody of the subject, and he is now in our custody being held.
Rye says the man is known to police in certain circumstances and that they are confident that the incident was not linked to terrorism. At least 9 people are confirmed dead and several others injured. Vancouver's Filipino community was celebrating Lapu-Lapu Day, named for a 16th century Filipino warrior who stood up to Spanish explorers. The incident happened as Canadians prepared to go to the polls tomorrow in an election dominated by President Trump's tariffs and his 51st state rhetoric. Firefighters and rescue workers battled through the night and into early today to contain a fire from a massive explosion at a port in southern Iran. At least 25 people have been killed, hundreds injured. The blast came as the U.S. and Iran wrapped up a third round of talks over Iran's nuclear program. Here's NPR's Carrie Khan.
Iranian officials are calling the blast an accident, but have not specified what caused the explosion early Saturday. Videos showing reddish clouds of smoke emanating from the port point to a chemical blast. A security firm said Iran had recently received a shipment of a chemical used in missile fuel, according to several media outlets. The explosion occurred just as Iranian and U.S. mediators were in talks in Oman. A senior U.S. official characterized the talks as positive and productive and stated there is still much to do and that both sides agreed to meet again soon in Europe. Israel has pushed for military action to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. President Trump says he favors talks. Carrie Khan, NPR News, Tel Aviv.
Major consumer brands officially sounding alarm about what lies ahead for American shoppers. Companies including Pepsi, Procter & Gamble, and Kimberly-Clark are cutting their financial forecast for the year, predicting lower sales and profits, as NPR's Alina Selyuk reports.
This is the first wave of corporate earnings reports since President Trump imposed sweeping new tariffs on global imports and especially Chinese goods, and consumer conglomerates are starting to get specific about impacts. Kimberly-Clark, which makes Kleenex and Huggies, says tariffs are expected to add $300 million in new costs. Procter & Gamble, maker of Tide, Pampers, and Charmin, says it may have to raise prices. Chipotle says customers tell the company they are visiting less because they're saving money out of caution. As Colgate-Palmolive CEO put it, quote, uncertainty creates a pensive and anxious consumer. And when you have uncertainty, consumers tend to hunker down. Alina Selyuk, NPR News.
And from Washington, you're listening to NPR News.
WNF Tampa.
One day after the funeral of Pope Francis, people have been visiting his tomb at Rome's St. Mary Major Basilica, and crowds again gathered in St. Peter's Square for a special mass honoring him. Today marks the second of 9 days of official mourning for Francis. No date has been set for the conclave that will choose a successor, but church cardinals are expected to begin meeting this week to plan for it. Ethiopia's Tigist Assefa has won her first London Marathon title. She ran the women's only race today in record time, crossing the finish line in 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 50 seconds. Sebastian Sawe of Kenya won the men's race in 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 27 seconds. The last entrants expected to cross the finish line well into the night, as Vicky Barker reports from London.
More than 56,000 people have entered this year's London Marathon, and organizers are hoping to break the record set in New York last year when 55,646 runners finished. The elite athletes are chasing $130,000 bonuses for any who set a world record. The non-elite entrants range from one man who's running dressed as a robin to two fathers whose young daughters were killed in the Southport attack at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class last summer. With unseasonably high temperatures forecast, the organizers have urged the amateurs not to try for personal bests this year. For NPR News, I'm Vicki Barker in London.
And I'm Giles Snyder. This is NPR News from Washington.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, supporting creative people and effective institutions committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. More information is at macfound.org.
This May 10th, get ready for an unforgettable night at Tropical Heatwave 2025 in Ybor City. Venezuela is bringing the heat with the one and only Cheo, former leader of the Heart of Los Amigos Invisibles. Cheo's new band is ready to take you on a musical journey like no other. From the funky rhythms of Latin salsa to the smooth vibes of bossa nova and the irresistible groove of Latin house. It's an eclectic mix you won't want to miss. Mark your calendars, May 10th, Ybor City. Get your tickets now. Visit tropicalheatwave.org for more info and to buy your tickets before they sell out.
WMNF is more than just 88.5 FM. You can also find us online at WMNF.org. Check out the latest news stories, how to volunteer, future WMNF concerts, stream live or the latest episode of your favorite music shows, and more. And of course, you can always show your support by clicking on the Donate Now button. Explore your community at WMNF.org.
Hey WMNFers, if you enjoy alternative, indie, and eclectic music from the 1980s and 90s, tune into our newest program, Gen X Redux, hosted by me, your cool Aunt Cindy. Monday mornings, 3 to 6 a.m. From classic MTV to college underground, get your 80s and 90s fix anytime on WMNF.org under the Listen tab, or download the WMNF app and go to the archives. Gen X Redux. I love that sound effect.
Join me late Sunday, early Monday for Body Rock with Mike B on WMNF 88.5 Tampa. The heavy metal disco train leaves the station at midnight for a 3-hour dark journey into the sonic underworld of alternative music. Body Rock with Mike B. Sunday, midnight, WMNF 88.5.
And right now you're tuned to the Sunday Forum right here on your non-commercial radio station, WMNF 88.5 FM with Walter L. Smith II, Annie Miles, and Fourth Estate crew. Taking your telephone calls, 813-239-9663, or you can write DJ at WMNF.org. Walter.
All right. We are back on the Sunday Forum. This is your host, Walter L. Smith II, the voice of the Tampa Bay area, along with the members of the Fourth Estate crew. We're glad to have you with us this beautiful Sunday morning. It is now 8 minutes after the hour of 9 a.m. We talked about in the last we talked a little more than I had planned on regarding the issues surrounding Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders. So we're going to move on this morning. So no more calls about the Sanders issue this morning, please. All right. Now, a couple of things. One, this 2025 is the year of reparations for the African Union. Very, very important. It's called the Year of Reparations, hashtag Year of Reparations as well. It says, it actually, if you go to the website of the AU.INT, you can check it out and find out more about what's going on with the African Union. Why is that so important? Because in our time, in our lifetime, we are seeing the closest we have ever been to the possibility of seeing a united Africa. And that is really, really exciting for me. The fact that we have gotten as far as we have gotten and seen what we have seen thus far with regards to that, that is tremendous. And I, for one, am fully in support of it. And it cannot happen truthfully. It cannot truthfully happen without African Americans. And it cannot happen without Africans of the diaspora, which is what they call upon. They call upon the Africans of the diaspora as well to come and be a part of this. No, in many cases we don't have, except for Haiti and Dominican Republic, and maybe a couple of other countries, but in the Western Hemisphere, those are, Jamaica and places like that, you have a couple of places that can actually say that they are their own independent countries and that they are predominantly, and that they are black nations. And so they are thusly members of the diaspora, and as members of the diaspora, they could actually fit into this United States of Africa, so to speak, right? And we just have to figure out how we fit into that. There's this issue of trade, the issue of doing business that we really need to start taking a look at. And we preach that a lot here on this show, and we're going to continue to preach that on this show. And I think next week what I'm going to do is actually focus in more on that. So that aside,
I do want to throw in there that today is the day we are celebrating what happened in South Africa on this day in 1994. We held its first general election, first democratic general election in which people of African descent, actual black people can vote in their own land.
Right.
So their interim constitution came into force on this day in 1994.
Yes, and my parents were actually both monitors of that election.
See, there you go.
And my father were both monitors for that election in South Africa. That was a great, great day.
And that brought Nelson Mandela to power.
That's right.
Come on.
That's right. That's exactly right. So, shout out to anybody who's a member of the Mandela family. We love you, and we cherish you all. And we cherish the memory.
Is that a call we got here, Billy? Okay, well, we got a call waiting real quick. Let's see what that's about, and we go to the next topic.
Okay, if it's about the about the Sanders, no, we're not doing that.
Okay.
They may be able to connect the dots. Let's see.
All right,
good morning, caller. You on the air?
Yeah, good morning. I'm not into sports, so I'm glad we're moving away from that. That's why I waited this hour to call. Yeah.
All right.
Let me start. I'm going to give a couple of interesting examples here, but the Republican Party is handicapped by the fact that Mike Johnson is not moving stuff through Congress. They can't even pass the tax bill. And this is why you have a frenzy on the Sharpies. The Sharpie is running this country. Unfortunately, I'm sad to say. Tony Evers has told his state employees, you know what, disobey the ICE orders. There's a guy in Arizona from agricultural who got in trouble with human smuggling. So this is what happens where there's no laws passed by Congress, particularly about immigration. You have all these people going rogue everywhere in politics, unfortunately. It's sad to say. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, me and Billy was just speaking about it just now. I didn't mean to cut you off, Walter. But we were literally talking about that as well. We're going to discuss that a little bit later on. A judge was just arrested because she was trying to help someone, in regards to ICE coming into her courtroom, to take him away and everything. So I agree with you. Everyone's gone rogue, because the fact that they've allowed this president to just basically do whatever he wants, just disregard any laws, disregards any due process is amazing. So I applaud, individuals that do stand up to still help the, I can't even say that just the poor people that can't afford the lawyers that can defend them. But their due process is just being taken away from them. So they arrested this judge for that. So that's going to be a precedent for something else, a precedent of something else, I'm sure. Go ahead, Walter.
Yeah, I was just listening to a panel here in Chicago, and they're predicting at least the House is going to flip. Chris Murphy, they were mentioning that Chris Murphy, I don't know if you guys know, apparently Chris Murphy's going in red zone and talking to people, hey, listen to the Democratic Party about our ideas. So I don't know if you guys have heard about Chris Murphy going to red zones about that, or are there other congressional people doing that?
Excuse me. You know what? One of the things that that I'm happy to see happen is people jumping ship.
Yeah.
People jumping ship. It says to me that we're not lost as a country, right? It says to me that you have people out there who have common sense and know that there's something wrong. They actually know that something is wrong, and that means everything. That means everything, and especially if you have people who are, as you say, dissenting. Yeah, I was scared there for a minute, and I still am concerned about this. However, we have a lot of issues in our respective communities that need to be addressed, and we're wondering how they're going to be addressed when everything that's relevant to that is being kicked out or rolled back or stymied in some way because of some really bad policies that are very juvenile, basically, fundamentally juvenile in nature. When you think about what's happening, for instance, with the Ukraine situation, how can you say that you're going to have peace talks, without the Ukraine being involved in the peace talks? That makes no sense. How can you say that all of a sudden now you see the bombing and Trump is now saying stop to Putin because he knows that what's going on is wrong. He knows what's going on is wrong, but his concern has been this issue with minerals and trying to get control of their resources in the Ukraine. That's been his concern. Just like he's trying to get control of the resources in just north of here. In Iceland. You get what I'm saying? So, these things that are happening make sense. And I'm so glad that judge did what she did. I hate that she got arrested. But that's stupid. Again, the juvenile game that they're playing, very juvenile game they're playing, and very dangerous game when you do that and you set a precedent of going up against the judicial system or judicial the Supreme Court. That's a very, very bad precedent to set.
Thank you for your call, caller.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great show. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to recap some things that happened this past week, and I didn't get a chance to in the first hour, so I'm gonna do it now. Okay, Ms. Andy, you were there.
I was there. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Right?
Yes, it was.
I am elated. So for the very first time, this past week, we had the first ever. The Dr. Walter L. Smith Library and Museum hosted the first ever statewide conference on environmental hazards. That's what we called it. The truth of the matter is, it was the first ever statewide conference on environmental racism. That's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
And we focused in on that. And what was unique about it is it's the first time in Florida history that you've ever had a conference that was specifically by Black people for Black people. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? What that means is you had a conference that was well attended by people from all walks of life and different backgrounds. Yeah. But the predominant numbers of people were from Black communities that have been impacted environmentally throughout the state of Florida, number one. And number two, you had professionals who were Black professionals in the various areas when it comes down to the environmental field. You had environmental engineers, you had civil engineers, you had leaders of environmental organizations, you had Black farmers, you had doctors, Black doctors, you had Black heads of state that were there. And it was tremendous. This was all telecast on social media, on Facebook, and you can watch the videos on the Dr. Walter L. Smith Library and Museum page. on Facebook. You can watch the entire thing. And
you had former mayors there too.
Oh yes, Louis Vieira was there. You had Congresswoman Kathy Castor's office representative was there, Marcia Mejia. You had who was Darlene Johnson, representative from Win Henderson's office. Who's that?
Was it Sarasota mayor, the former Sarasota mayor?
Yes,
Fred Atkins?
the former mayor of Sarasota. Fred Atkins was there. And he's the first black mayor of Sarasota.
Yeah.
He was there as one of the panelists there. You had the people from Florida A&M University who were present, from the Bears, what they call the Bears Farm, which is the Brooksville Environmental and Agricultural Research Station. That's what that is. Only 30 minutes away from my own farm where I'm sitting right now, coming to you live on the Sunday Forum. So this is really...
See what he just did there, Billy? You see what he just did, right?
Yeah.
You like that?
Okay.
Yep.
That's the way I did that. So, it's important. It was important to listen to what was being said and what was being hashed out. I mean, really, you had stories there that were being told that had been swept under the rug, or people never heard them before. The astonishment of some people over the things that were being said was incredible. It was incredible. Ms. Annie, what was your experience?
Well, I took a lot away from it because, like you said, we had black doctors up there and leaders and everything from all walks of life, and they was sharing their stories. They were sharing what they went through. They were sharing how important it is for us to get together, understand that we need to have a voice in what they decide to do in our communities. The plants that they try to place there. We had one lady, she was talking about she's lived across from a cement plant for almost 40-some years. And we all know cement can cause all kinds of health issues. You have the dust from it and everything. So her community is still fighting about that. But just imagine all the other communities that we've been around, that we didn't take the time to see what it was doing to our health. We didn't take the time to see that they came in our community and built these things, these power lines. There's consequences and health issues to all of that. And if we don't participate on when they make these decisions and we just sit back and let them do it, then we're going to continue to have these same concerns. She's been fighting, again, like I said, for 40 years, living across from a cement plant. And she told us about how her neighbor that's right next to her, every morning she has to come out and dust off her car or her house or whatever because the dust from that cement plant. So just imagine living in those conditions. So I took a lot away from it to know that we have to have some accountability of what's going on in our communities, and it to me, like I said, old school, it goes back to what our past elders and everything used to do. We got to get out there and fight and march, and speak up and attend these events like you had with the environment. We have to attend those. We have to go to the city council and let our voices and everything be heard. So
Absolutely. And let me tell you, there's a lot happening around the United States in these black communities. And I made a point of saying this. Everybody knows me well enough to know that I am unapologetically black. Unapologetically. I am unapologetically a Pan-African.
Are you black?
You know what I'm saying? But being able and saying that, I make no apologies for talking about these things. And the reason that people need to understand that we focus in on that on this show is because if you can resolve many of the issues of our community, what you've done, in fact, is come up with a template for resolving many of the issues or ills of other oppressed communities. That's the truth. That's the honest to goodness truth. And where we are right now when it comes to the environmental justice realm. It is truly that, a realm, because there's a vast amount of things that have been done to us environmentally.
Right.
And it spans back to the very time that we landed on these shores and were placed in these backwoods areas where we're exposed to things environmentally. Even the very agricultural aspect, our agricultural existence was actually discussed there. Why? Because we have black farmers there.
Yeah.
We have the black farmers there, and they discussed the issues pertaining to the plight of the black farmer. When we talk about what's happening what happened in Sarasota, we talk about that because, most people think about Sarasota and you think about environmental issues, you think about a storm. It wasn't just a storm. The storm hit everybody.
Yeah.
Right? But on top of the storm, how are you going to build resilience when you have a beryllium plant?
Yes. What is beryllium?
There's ABC, they're referring to American Beryllium Corporation, that is spewing out high levels of lead and heavy metals into your groundwater, where the predominant numbers of people live off well water, or they're playing in this soil, or they're playing in this groundwater, or the air quality is horrible. I mean, because of it, you're breathing this stuff in, and the transport of it is wind, or the transport of it is water. The things that you ingest, things you wash your hands in, things that you coming home from work, because many people worked in these plants. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Where you work and your habits at home have everything to do with the environmental state of your home. Do you realize that most people nowadays don't even have plants in their home? Plants, just like plants, potted plants, right? And because they don't have potted plants in their home, you have air quality issues, right? Because the plants absorb a lot of those toxins, and they help with your air quality issues. People don't recognize that. Something as simple as that, right? But what's worse is we had a discussion with a guy who's suffering from cancer right now. I invited him to come out because there was a news interview about him, and he's from Beesville, right here in Plant City, and he does the farmers market. And as he's doing he's suffering from breast cancer right now. He has the farmers market out there, and he's producing food in order to sell in the open market, and he's doing well with it. Okay, he's taking it upon himself to eat well, to eat better, and to advise people on issues, because he spent years working on indoor air quality because he worked on air conditioners. And he was explaining what it's like in public housing, right?
Yeah.
In public housing or just apartments, just in your home alone, where your air conditioner could be killing you.
Very true.
Your air conditioner could be killing you.
One other things I appreciate as well with him explaining that, because we don't realize the filters and stuff that's inside there, and especially if you're in apartment complexes or, one of those ones that the management gets to run and you just don't really know what's blowing in your air. If the filters and stuff is not clean, the correct way, we're actually inhaling all of that. But I did appreciate the fact that they did make a point that the farmers was how important it is now to start trying to grow your own food and your vegetables. And we got a call on the air as well, Walter. So let's address this and see if they got some comments before we move on.
All right, do it.
And you can always demand a new filter every time you go pay your rent.
Right.
That's what I do.
That's right.
We know it. We know I'm a bit.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Is it my turn?
Yes, sir, it is.
I'm Joel Chudnow, a white boy, a Jew boy, and a former teacher at Hillsborough Community College for 23 years.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Holistic health care. I'm not talking about million-dollar athletes this morning. I want to talk about environmental hazards, which are far more important than million-dollar athletes. Now, what we got here is environmental hazards right in our community, and you people are making me think. I attended the conference on the 22nd and 23rd. I'm the white guy in a wheelchair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad you're here.
So I just want to say thank you for putting that on, Walter. And I just want to thank all the participants, including people that really caught my attention newspaper publisher from Bealsville, Sylvester W. McLeod Sr. He was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank Dr. Eduardo Williams from Tallahassee, who really enlightened the room with justice, points of justice.
Yes, I enjoy Dr. Williams as well.
And we got Fred Atkins, of course. I was able to talk with Fred, and the message here is come back home to Newtown, Sarasota. and attorney Ennis Leon Jacobs in Tallahassee, 40 years fighting for justice, legislating for justice. Reverend Dr. Calvin Evans from Pensacola. Boy, he really stuck it to us. Health, social, and economic harm was his comment. Malcolm Kiner, know the history. Plans that segregate. And Malcolm Kiner from Tampa and now in Gainesville Housing Department, he said they're making plans that segregate. So I'm personally aligned with people that want a better environment, because I've seen in my classes, my adult classes in 23 years, I hosted 923 radio shows on Hillsborough College Hawk radio station on wellness, and I've seen the result of environmental hazards that cause acute and chronic disease.
Yes.
This is a corporate attack on the poor. This is the boardrooms, the special interests, the money and the power that don't want you to take a nickel away from their billion-dollar income. And they're greedy, and we got to make a change. Now, I'm not just complaining. I'm not a victim. I'm not playing a victim like they did this and they did that. I'm saying action. I'm saying coalitions to build a policy, a neighborhood policy. Build your neighborhoods policy. You talk about a union in Africa. I'm talking about a union right in your neighborhoods, and saying we demand justice and love and compassion and joy first, and then clean up this mess you made.
Yeah.
Clean up the toxic waste dumps that you put in these neighborhoods, and clean up our air so we can breathe and raise healthy children. What we're doing today is creating either a healthy offspring, future generations, or creating a diseased future generations. I've seen that happen. This is generational disease. That 90 miles between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, why, that's a travesty. They call it Cancer. The people who live there call it Cancer Alley. They got to get out of there. They got to stop supporting the people that pollute that 90-mile strip of the Mississippi.
And Mobile's from there.
So we got to rethink responsibility. My message, one word: take responsibility. Do what you can do, and build neighborhood policy, and get a group of people going to the town halls there's tomorrow night in Hyde Park, there's a community center. There's a town hall at the community center, in the middle of white Tampa. White affluent.
Did he say white Tampa?
Hey, go show up in force and say, is the rent too high? No. Yeah, tell them the lead and the cadmium and the arsenic and mercury in our neighborhoods is too high.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so you got and you can make such a statement by creating a neighborhood policy that together you march, you put up signs and say we stand for justice and compassion and caring and health. We stand for health. Now, the farms in our neighborhoods, that's a great thing. The gardens, that's a great thing that we ought to be promoting more of. And ask the city to give us land that's unused to cultivate organic soil and grow real food for real people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, because everything you're saying is correct. Thank you so much.
Dr. Chudnow, you're absolutely right.
You
let me
think.
point this out.
You made me think, Walter.
You made him.
I've come to this conference. I've been thinking about this environmental disease for decades. I got into this business in 1989 when I got whacked by the cosmic 2x4. I got very sick. I said goodbye to my rheumatologist, my doctor. I fired him, and I started learning these things in 1989 for my two daughters, and now I have a granddaughter. But I care about people. I love people, and I care about people. And we got to get together on this simple issue.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, we're going to follow up on that. And like I was saying, from now until next year when we do it, the second one, next year's conference, the goal is to address these issues in the form of alliances and to have action and mobilize. So I appreciate you being there. The conversations I have with you have been very valuable, and the fact you're calling this morning, it speaks volumes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Action and responsibility, and thank you all. Thank you. Keep on keeping on.
All right. Thank you. Now, we talk about responsibility. People have to know that there's something to be responsible for, right? What do I mean by that? It's not just a matter of changing. People think it's something simple. Yeah, let's just change the air filter. Well, you know what that does? Like, you're saving a life, and when you don't, you're increasing the amount of people in our community that have asthma, right? Or they have other respiratory issues. Mm-hmm. You don't know what these things are happening. What Sylvester McLeod brought up and this is the gentleman who has breast cancer, who is selling produce at the farmed goods in Bealsville. Let me tell you, what he brought up was tremendous, because you're talking about a gentleman who said that people died as a result of air conditioning and bad air conditioning, indoor air quality, not just outdoor air quality, but indoor air quality. That's disturbing. That's very disturbing. And last year and the year before, I think it was 2 years ago. Actually, now it's 2 years ago. We talked about a community, an apartment community that was really under siege. And I think it was called, what was the name of that apartment, Mobile?
Oh, you mean the one that...
What was it?
Over in Columbus Court area?
Well, yeah, Columbus Court is one. But no, this is over on 43rd Street.
Oh, yeah.
The Oaks, Silver Oaks, I think it was called.
That's right, something like that.
Silver Oaks. Silver Oaks was under some really bad, they were under siege with horrible environmental conditions, okay? And we think about it, you know, you have Charlie Roberts that's working over in Springs. He was there. Charlie Roberts is a young black man who has he is working very diligently in Sulphur Springs to transform Sulphur Springs himself. And we're going to put every bit of the force of our show and our abilities behind Charlie to help him to do what needs to be done to transform Sulphur Springs. Those people don't deserve to live like that. They don't deserve to look like that, to live in that manner. And as we spoke about it, we spoke about the issue of sustainability. Mm-hmm. And Sulphur Springs is suffering because of a lack of sustainability. They have no economic growth at all. There's no economic infusion in that community. The social aspect of it is disgustingly bad. Why? Because these people are so badly set in life that they're trying to dig themselves out of a hole, and they keep being put right back in it over and over again. They're ignoring these people. When you talk about environmental, again, these are three pillars of sustainability: economic, social, and environmental. Environmentally, forget about it. You're talking about places, people living in abandoned homes, people living in way less than standard apartments and duplexes, where the ownership is out of town somewhere and doesn't care a damn about what these people are going through. That's disturbing. That's allowed to go on. And there's not an ordinance. I've always believed that, as I'm telling you right now, as a city council member, if I had been in city council, I'd have made an ordinance to take those properties away from those owners, those property owners. They have a certain amount of time to get those properties up to par, up to our standards, our standards.
Yeah, you're talking about absentee landlord ordinances of type.
Yes.
But, you know, they always worry themselves about whether or not they're going to be sued. But, you know, you mentioned beryllium, and I know that there's been some attention given to a community called Tallahassee, Florida.
Yes.
And they have been suffering from the American Beryllium Company plant that has been shut down since. But, you know, again, this whole revolution in production, in productivity is really built on the backs of us, poor people who are working in these plants or living in and around these plants, neighborhoods. Yes. So what is beryllium and how is that, is used? We know it's used in the aerospace industry. What else? Well,
what was happening was they were creating, beryllium is a substance that's used at that particular point for encapsulating nuclear use with the making of nuclear weapons.
Right, because that plant was bought by Lockheed Martin, right? Which is, and so that was a study so he couldn't ignore it. In 2012, there was a study about what happened in Tallahassee, and we need studies like that because that seems to get people's attention and get companies to do. And hopefully, we talking about people who are drinking bad water, contaminated groundwater, because they were using wells. What other communities who are using wells are being contaminated in this way in Florida?
Oh, man, listen. Port St. Joe. Port St. Joe was one that was really bad. In Port St. Joe, you had a black community where things were segregated, obviously, red line. And we had Danny Bolden. Danny Bolden, who's probably listening this morning. Brother Bolden, if you're listening, please call in. We want to hear from you. Danny Bolden was there, and he has been one of the leaders, along with Dr. Calvin Avon, in the North Florida Panhandle area And what was happening was you have these industries that were being created in that region, and black folks lived right next to it, and they were put there intentionally. Okay? So they live along a railway line, or they live right there where they supply these plants. And these plants are paper mills, lumber mills, and things like that. And so as these things are being produced, you have all types of chemicals that are being released from those plants. So in Port St. Joe, for instance, you had things like arsenic. You had arsenic, copper. There's a particular type of I can't right now. All the stuff is released. Yeah, a lot of stuff is escaping me right now. But the contamination is absolutely ridiculous, and it was being released into these communities, and it was in the groundwater, right? It wasn't just in the groundwater; it was in the air. Okay, and so how are you going to move these groups of people who have been there for generations living in this stuff? You're talking about arsenic, PCBs, vanadium, and lead. Those are just a couple of things that was it.
And they actually tell you in these plants, these type of people that's working in these plants, they sometimes come down with lung disease because the stuff that the chemicals that they're messing with, it contributes to that.
These are plumes, and I know we got an email from one listener who said that they knew two people who worked at a beryllium plant, and he said this email is brother's father-in-law and a friend. They both died young from strange cancers.
Yeah. Because the dust and everything from the beryllium, it gets into their lungs and causes all kinds of things. Yeah.
Got a call.
Oh, we got a call on the air.
There were rules from the local government that allowed these companies to dump toxic waste in these communities while the people were living there.
Yeah.
You understand? And so, and you have black workers that were doing it in some cases.
And that's what I was going to say. They target those communities, those individuals to work because they can't get jobs. So they have to work there.
Yeah.
You know?
You have to keep your mouth shut while you're doing it.
Yep. That is correct.
You know, and so this stuff went on for generations. This wasn't just happening, just something that happened overnight. This is happening.
We know post World War II that they were dealing with. There were all kinds of contaminants being thrown around in this country, trying to get the upper hand in the Cold War. We got a call coming in.
We were in the midst of doing it. Oh, we connected the call. Good morning, caller. You on the air? Hello?
Caller, you can go ahead and talk. Turn your radio down.
Good morning, caller. You on the air?
All right, back to you, Walter.
Go ahead, Walter. I guess they'll call back.
We're just a few minutes away from the end of the program, so if you want to call, now is a good time to call.
Yeah, we have somebody just called in right now. I can hear them.
Are you on the air?
Can you hear me, Mobile?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. We got you now.
Man, yo, what's going on?
I knew something was happening. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's okay. It's doubly neat, but I don't usually do this, but this is very important. I wanted to ask Walter if he could expound on something for me, because where I was living, I was intending to ask him about this. I sat on 579. They built a gas plant, which the people protested, but they built it anyway, and it releases gas. That's one of the things it does, because I smell it sometimes. Now, down the street from that, they built the place that crushes up brush and bushes and all of this, and tree shrub. It's supposed to be free, but it's not. But so there's like a dump right there, and they moved it by a community. And when we go down there, we was just talking about it, it stinks so bad it smells like vomit. So we was like, dog, the people they used to be outside, now they don't come outside, and when you come, you only smell it when you hit that area. And then my son said, yeah, it's probably mixing with that gas too, Daddy.
Wow.
That's a dog. So I just wanted to know, like, all that stench that we smell, how is that affecting the groundwater? Because a lot of the people out here are on wells. Yeah.
Big time.
Well,
and one of the things we talked about during the conference, and I really wish we'd had a lot more people. But listen, we had a great number that showed up. But one of the things that will happen is what you're smelling typically, possibly, is methane. There's no question in my mind that what you're smelling is methane in many instances. And then you have materials that are buried there that would leach out. Leachate is a liquid form of the waste that's being buried, that's being released, and it's mixed up with a bunch of different things. As a matter of fact, in your house, for instance, if you don't take the garbage out, I think everybody knows about this. You don't take the garbage out in your house or something. You pick up a plastic bag, have a liquid sludge underneath your bag or on the floor that you got to clean up, right? That's leachate. That's a leachate. So imagine that times 1,000 or more, right? That's what you have that's leaching, that's going in your groundwater, which percolates into your aquifer, which is your supply of fresh water underground that people who drink well water, that comes from, right? So your contaminant, you get those contaminants into the groundwater, and you're exposed to it, and that's what happens. So you breathe it. It's air quality. It's also water quality, and that's a problem. That's a serious problem.
Yeah, I know you knew it. I thank you for that, because we knew it, but the people are not conscious. It's just occurring, I guess, to the after effect. Then
you got to check the data. You got to get data. Please go and get people together and get somebody out there to take data, to test the water and test the soils out there and test the air. Know what you're being exposed to.
That soil ain't passing no test if it smells like that, and you just drive by in your car. You know what I'm saying? It takes over your vehicle.
Yeah. You got to get that tested, man. Get that tested right away, please.
Is there some place that they can call to have the county or the city come out and do the testing for them?
You can try. But what happens quite often, as we learn when we do try, is they want to put it off on somebody else. Mm-hmm. You know, so you have to do independent testing,
right?
And have it done.
They have it out here where you can get independent. Regularly call and tell you they'll check it, and I think it's by the state county. But I don't hardly ever bother, because I check mine and I change filters and use filters and what have you. Like you're saying, though, that's still not a cure-all, but I try to do. And then you can tell sometimes the air quality with the pollen and stuff is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what happened.
I knew the conference was going to be good, but the problem is we can't get the people together to do this stuff, to make these issues what they need to be. Because, like I said, it's too late.
That's again, we have to be on the forefront of our own environmental justice fight.
Yeah,
we cannot listen. I said this last week, and we said it a billion times over, and I think John Henry Clark probably said it the best. You can't expect the person in power, the person who enslaved you, is going to do anything to put you in power. You can't expect the colonizer is going to do anything that's going to put you in a position of power in your own community. Just can't do it.
You have to be accountable for yourselves and the changes that
you got to be accountable for yourself, and you got to get on the forefront of this fight.
Yeah.
That's correct. I appreciate you, brother, y'all. I appreciate all the information, because that sharpens me up a lot better.
Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
Got it, man. Hey, man. Thank you for the call, brother.
All right, we got 7 more minutes. We got another call on air.
Like they say, iron sharpens iron.
That's it. Iron sharpens iron. That's it.
Hello.
Good morning,
caller.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's Michelle, and I was at the conference on Wednesday. I just want to tell you thank you so much, sir. It was amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for being there.
Well,
and I
had one of the callers.
I do remember you.
Yes, sir. I live in the Seffner Mango Community Plan, and we do need help in Seffner to protect the wells from groundwater. And on May 8th at 6 p.m., we need a show of people in red shirts to help us protect our watershed. It's the Pemberton Creek watershed, and we need a show up of people, please. If you don't know about it, you can't protect it. But in this case, we do know about it.
Michelle, can you give the location and time again?
Yes, ma'am. It's at Hillsborough County, downtown, the county center, the Board of County Commissioners, second floor, off of Kennedy and Twiggs, 6 p.m. And if people will call in to the Board of County Commissioners and say no to CPA 2320, they are trying to get an amendment to the Seffner-Mango Community Plan. And the Planning Commission, they've already ruled unanimously this is not safe for the public. And for whatever reason, I won't say what that reason could be, for people to get rich off of taxpayers' help. Unfortunately, it's being ignored. This man's already been violated by a special magistrate, code enforcement.
This is the salvage yard?
Yes, sir. And he is storing vehicles right on top of land that's agricultural. It's meant to grow strawberries, blueberries, you know, and he just put it behind white fences, and he encroached. Nobody knew for a decade. You know, we're in a rural area. We've got to start waking up and paying attention to what's going around us, all of us, because it affects every one of us.
Absolutely. I also recommend, Michelle, I don't know if you have a community gathering when you guys have these discussions, but put some flyers out there as well so people can know, you know, to attend that event so that your voices can be heard. Because if he's been there for years, you guys have been poisoning you guys' water, everybody in the community should be standing up and showing up.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
The Sierra Club right now is putting together, Todd, he has been amazing. He has been helping, and he's putting together a flyer right now. And,
Todd is awesome. I love Todd. Todd is excellent. Yes. Shout out to Todd.
What you just going to say, my Billy?
It just seemed like people should go and get in front of the Board of County Commission, because there's supposed to be this is supposed to be a wellhead resource protected area, apparently, to protect the groundwater.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's time. It's time.
Well, we're very happy you attended, Michelle. And please, next year when he has the event, bring some other people with you. That's why I'm telling everybody that came to it, you saw what it can do, you saw the information you received. On the next one, bring more people with you. The more people involved, the more changes can be made.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
and we have to get it before they approve it. So that's why it's so important. Please, anybody who's listening, you may not live in Seffner or Mango, but if you get water, we all need water to live.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And let me be clear about this. This is Walter Smith saying this flat out. Shame on the county commission if they let this pass. Shame on them.
Thank you.
Shame on each and every one of them. And a silence, and trust me when I tell you this, whomever you are that's on that county commission, if you are silent, you're allowing this to happen. You are silent, you're allowing it, and we're going to hold you accountable here on the Sunday Forum. We're going to hold you accountable. We're going to know who you are, and we're going to hold you accountable for it. So silence is not going to cut it, Jack. You got to say something against this. There's something wrong with this.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your call.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Do we have a couple of minutes do we have another call?
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay. So, folks, as you can see, this is serious. This is serious. I mean, our representatives are supporting or being quiet about people who are literally trying to kill you. I mean, I can't say it any plainer.
Legally trying to kill you at that.
Ignore your deaths.
Yeah.
And they're hiding it behind business. Oh, well.
Behind white picket fences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, folks, when are you going to recognize the realities of what's going on? From fair housing, you got an environmental issue. From where you live, in the community you live in, there's an environmental issue. What you spend your money on is an economic issue. What you eat is an environmental issue. All of it.
It's a drink.
You recognize, even when you get killed by the damn police, there's an environmental issue. Trust me when I tell you. If you don't believe it, trust me when I tell you. I can have a talk with you, and I'll show you exactly what it is. Listen, folks, we want to thank you for joining us here on the Sunday Forum. Again, this beautiful Sunday. It is now 10 a.m., and it is time for us to wrap up. I want to thank all of you for calling. I want to thank all of you who came out to the conference.
30 seconds.
Again next year. So in the meantime, we're going to mobilize and get out there and get some things done. Folks, we want to invite you to come and join us again next weekend on the Sunday Forum. And as always, from my voice to the radio waves, the hearts and the minds of the people, we love you. And there's not a thing you can do about it here on the Sunday Forum.
Postmart Hootenanny coming their way next.
Blessings and prosperity.
WMNF Town.